talking like 1,100 foil. How does that look for you? What does a light wind foil setup look for windsurfers?
Well, my biggest front wing is 550, and that's what I love about it. Is as I'm developing for Z foils, I think we had the fastest foil speed-wise out there, but not over a course.
There's something else that I'm not sure if you plan on doing that in 2 years. It's going to be the Summer Olympics. Is that a topic at all for you?
Did you know that when you're in the water, in cold water, that you can actually grow bone in your ear canal and it can close up? And if you close up completely, you cannot hear anymore. If it closes up a little bit and the water gets in, it cannot get out. That can lead to infection. So, you know, protect yourself. Get yourself some earplugs. These are SurfEars. The link is in the description if you want some. The cool thing about SurfEars is it prevents water from coming in, but you can still hear because it's got this mesh fabric that still lets audio through, which is nice.
This is Up on Foil, the podcast for everyone flying just above the surface. Pump, carve, soar, let's foil!
This episode is also sponsored by Foilsessions, but more on that later.
Welcome to episode number 81 of Up on Foil, the podcast where we talk all about foiling, not just foiling today, because today I'm with Amado Rieswijk, and it's super exciting. This is the second Bonaire episode, because last week we heard from Mike Ross, who talked about how it is on the island as an outsider, and today we're going to have one of the fastest foiler with us. So thank you very much, Mike, for just giving me the hint to get in contact with Amado. Amado, you're one of the fastest foiler windsurfer, basically. Is there anything, Amado, that people need to know about you right away?
To need to know about me right away.
Yeah, except for you're a super fast surfer, windsurfer, foiler.
I don't know where to start. No, I think I'm known for the aggressive style. The powerful style of racing in general, and I like to push the limits. So especially that.
All right, let's just start with that. And honestly, when I always hear your name, I usually hear it from Ben Prophet, who like calls you out when jibing, when just windsurfing on the PWA live broadcast, or sometimes on Nico Preen's recaps. That's where I've heard you. I've seen you as well. And I didn't know Bonaire. Were you born there?
Yeah, I'm born here. This is home.
Very,
Very lucky.
nice. Very. You're there at the moment, yes. And Bonaire is somehow, well, there's in the name, there's good winds. And Ben said, Mike said you had a lot of winds. Usually,
it's been
is
cranking.
that just how it is? These 25, 30 knots every day?
No. We let's say a normal day here on Bonaire. It's like an average of, let's say, 17 to 19 knots.
Okay.
But it has been insane lately. I have so much light wind foiling stuff to test, and since I'm here, I've not had the chance to do it yet.
What does light wind foiling stuff mean for you? Because when I have a winging background. I do parawing a lot of times. So if I have light winds, I'm talking like 1,000, 1,100 foil. How does that look for you? What does a light wind foil setup look for windsurfers?
Well, my biggest front wing is 550.
Have you ever recorded a session with a foiling app and then forgot to turn it off on your way home? Well, now with Foilsessions, you can actually crop your session, meaning that you can take out the car ride and just focus on your foiling, which is amazing. Try Foilsessions for free with the link below.
Which is probably one of the smallest you will use on the wing.
That's like a back wing, but yeah,
Exactly.
you're right.
But we already fly with like 7 to 8 knots.
Okay.
With like a 8 square meter sail, and that 550 wing. It's a very powerful wing, of course. There is a very powerful profile on it. Well, yeah, we get going.
That is crazy. I just watched a little on YouTube how you fly around, and I saw foil setups which to me looked crazy, like the front and the back wing They looked like they were similar sizes even. Probably not exactly, but almost.
Yes,
How do these setups look? And if I'm not mistaken, you work with a special foil round with Z foils. Is that still correct?
yes, that's correct.
Maybe you can talk about those and what's your job like with them.
Well, my job is, well, me and together with the boss, Herky from Z Foils, we develop foils. And I think it's very interesting because they know all these profiles. They have these computers, these systems to see what the drag does, what the twist does, what the layup looks like. And my job is actually to try to test in all types of conditions and give feedback what I feel, where is it better, where did it improve, where did we lose some, and this is how we keep going. Also with sizes, with, like I said, the twist of the tips, the stiffnesses, the positionings of the front wing compared to the mast of the foil. The fuselages, the back wing angles, it's, you name it. It's like a Formula One game almost, It goes into the minor details at the moment.
And when you develop or he develops them, and does he ship you like prototypes, or does he
Yeah.
work? Is he on Bonaire as well? And you do that
No,
everything
he's in
locally?
Estonia. He's far away
Okay.
from here. He's in the cold places. Yeah.
But that takes a long time, no, to ship these things and have it go back and forth.
Well, with FedEx, like normally it takes a week to get to Bonaire.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if whenever I'm in Holland, in Europe, it takes 1 day.
All
So
right,
I think it's not too bad.
all right. That's really not too bad. You've said in an interview like a year ago that you tried wing foiling once,
Yeah.
but didn't like it too much. Have you ever winged since, or just on the Windsurfer?
To be honest, we made, even with Z foils, we made a foil for winging.
So
And
you kind of
as
had to then, huh?
I kind of wanted to try to see, I have no ideas about what they do. So I did another 3-4 sessions maybe. That's
Yeah.
probably it, but straight in the waves. So for me, still, it's not the most attractive to be flying around in flat water because I'm so used to speed. And if I want to jump, I also kite. If I really want to jump with 20 knots, I take the kite and I go 4 times as high. And if I
Yes,
want
yeah.
speed, I take my race gear on the windsurfer and I have double, triple the speed. But what was fun, I'm gonna be honest, is look those waves. Taking those easy swells and you leave the wing behind and you just ride the waves. That was fun. So I had like 2 or 3 sessions doing this, and that's about it. And my wing experience.
All right, but you at least enjoyed winging as well a bit. How is the foil different, except for the size, obviously?
Well, yeah, there is a bit of a difference in wing profiles because you want a way lower end of the foil, so you want to be able to still be flying in 10 knots of speed, basically. So it's a bit less power. Yeah, it's a powerful profile, but a less speedy profile. And then, of course, the fuselages are way
Way shorter, huh?
smaller, way shorter. The back wings are a bit bigger, and I think the mast itself is also a bit smaller and a different profile again, just to keep everything more stable, more easy.
Okay, but then in the flat, it would get boring for you, huh?
Yeah, for me, for now, yes, it does. Yeah.
But you say that you enjoy the wave riding. Have you tried the parrowing yet? Because that would
No.
be like the ultimate wave riding.
No, I've not. There are 2-3 guys having it here on the island now, but now again, for now I don't really have time to do this because I just moved sponsor to North Sails, so I'm having all the new sails, the new foil stuff, new boards, and I'm very, very busy with this at the moment.
So you're probably testing a lot. Is that usually in flat water where you train?
Well, on Bonaire, we're fortunate to have all kinds of conditions. We have the flat stuff, the offshore flat stuff. We have the wavy stuff. We have the swell, like real proper swell, and we have normal chops. So I think in general, now especially being windy, we have so much hours that we can test, and it's very productive.
That is, well, that
It's
sounds
it's a
amazing.
dream. It's a dream at the moment. Yeah.
If we look at the island and I try to like look for some stats so people can know, because people might not know where Bonaire is. It's about, from a size perspective, it's about 5 times bigger than Manhattan, but
Yeah,
has 300 times less people, so it's not
probably. Yeah.
super densely populated. When
Yeah.
I looked at the map, there's one city, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's like a
that's
neighborhood.
it.
Yeah, it's like a neighborhood for you.
Well, for
Yeah.
me, no, I'm from Switzerland, and there
Ah,
everything is quite small as well.
yeah.
But how is that? How maybe you can talk about how it was like being born there and being raised on an island, on such a small island.
I really think I'm super lucky because there is no other place like this on the world, and I've been traveling for many, many, many years. And not because I live here, I'm born here, and everything feels home here. But every time I come back here, it's I get the wow factor. You know, like Jesus, that there's no other place like here. And that's because it's so relaxed. I think it's the least amount of rules we have on the island. And besides that, it's the definition of paradise here. Especially with foiling, you know, we have that little island called Bonaire in front of us. We can go around. There are beautiful beaches. So many times we do like trips with friends, you know. Okay, let's sail there, then we go there, and then we chill there, and we take a backpack full of drinks, and we chill around somewhere. Or you set up your mind and you go for it and train. But then on the island perspective, it's very small. So I recognize when I go to the gym in the morning, you know, you see all your friends, you're all waving because wherever you go, you see them. So that is also very unique. And just in general, like the chill vibe is here. There's no stress. Everything is laid back. And yeah, just amazing.
How important is windsurfing there?
I think it's one of the main things, like besides diving. I think this is in the top 3 of the world of the diving
All right.
stuff,
Okay.
the diving reef. And I think windsurfing makes the island popular. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So you said you have a Klein Bonaire, and then there's the city, and then in the south, from the satellite view, there are those salines. Are they making salt
Yeah,
there, or what?
that's
What
salt.
happens there?
Yeah, that's where they
And
produce salt. And
all right, and then there's a beautiful bay just east and the
yeah,
northeast of that.
yeah, and that's
Can
the
you
real
foil there
Windsor
as well?
spot. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
Windsor spot. That's where Tati France also has his center.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see if you zoom in on the bay, you see like really where the deep part is and where the
Yeah.
shallow part is. So the deep part is deep enough. I think it's around 2.5 to 3 meters, easy.
Okay.
And then yeah, of course the shallow you cannot go. You can probably go with your big fin gear, which is like a 44 cm fin, and the rest is pure sand. It's up to your waist high, basically. So also to learn how to windsurf, it doesn't
Ah,
get better.
nice.
It's warm. You can stand in sand. You don't have to worry about rocks or whatever. And when you fall, you just stand up and you go again. So
That sounds amazing.
it is
And that's where
really is.
people learn how to windsurf, how to foil as well?
Yes. So Tati is also giving a lot of wing lessons. A lot of people doing wing now at the moment. And yeah, like I said, it's dead flat. It's consistent wind. It's not strong. So you have this 15 to 18 knots consistent. So to
That's
learn,
perfect.
it's no better conditions basically.
And there's the whole east part of the island, which looks kind of rocky and rough,
Yeah,
and nothing really there.
yeah, indeed. What
And
also the
then,
good thing is of Bonaire is the nature is very protected. So we have like maybe how you call it, 20% is populated, like is used, and the rest is all um protected basically.
all right,
So you're
that's
not
nice. And
gonna
then,
have this factor like Aruba in general is a smaller island, but I think they
yeah.
have over 100,000 people living there. And if you
Oh,
go there,
really?
it's like really you step into Miami, you know, it's very American. And
Hmm.
here, because it's all protected, I think now we have 26,000 people living here. So, and you don't have all these big buildings. I think there's a limit. You can go up to 12 meters, so that's 3 stories.
Yeah.
And bigger than that, it doesn't get.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's super cool. There's another little town towards the north of the island,
Yeah, that's Rincon.
Rincon.
Yeah, exactly.
And how does it look there? Do you have a little mountain there, or is it all basically flat?
Yeah, we have the biggest mountain on the island, which is called Brandaris. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's 300 meters, which is nothing.
Okay. Yeah, that's not too high.
But it's a beautiful hike because me and friends we go. I think you're and if you walk with a few guys, I think you're there in 30 minutes up. and then yeah, we usually use it as a workout going up and down. And
That's
yeah.
that's amazing. I mean, if you say yeah, you were born there, it looks perfect. Were you into water and wind sports from the beginning?
Kind of, yes. I mean, I was doing a lot of tennis before. I was doing lots of sports before that. But then we always used to go to this beach, Slalom, from a very young age, and I was always swimming and playing on these boards until I saw a friend basically taking a first lesson, like on the real, like 0.5 meters, like the super small, tiny stuff. And I said, "Can I please try?" And off I was. And my parents, they windsurf, so the only instructions I ever got from my dad actually is when you put the sail backwards, the nose goes into the wind, and if you put it forward, it goes with the wind.
It's
And
important though, yeah.
yeah, and that's the only lesson or instructions I got. And from then it was crying every day to go to the beach.
That is awesome, man. Um, the let's just finish up with the island, or just about the island. We said it's pretty small. Can you windsurf around the island, or
Yeah.
is that too far?
No, no, I've done it. I've done it a few times.
How long would that take you? Well, you're super fast, obviously. Not everyone should do it or can do it. How long does it take for you?
Well, I have done it twice now, but it was every time with a friend, and he was on kite
Sounds cool.
foiling, and he was crashing a lot. So I had to. We were waiting a lot, a lot to get around. But at the end, I think we did it in 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh, really?
But I'm pretty sure if I send it on my speed, I will be around in 2 hours if the wind is in the perfect angle.
Oh, wow. That
It's
is,
it's
yeah,
about
that is
100
really.
kilometers, so it's not so far.
Okay. But still, you wanna like take some safety precaution, right? Because you're still off in the ocean, and if something might happen, what about the wildlife there? You have a lot of fish, maybe some sharks, even, or is that basically
We
safe?
have we have all kinds of wildlife in the water as well, but we don't have the dangerous ones. I think we have hammerheads, we have the nurse sharks and these kinds of things, but we don't have the white tigers and stuff.
But when
So
you foil around, and you said that you foil around super fast, and maybe and we can come up about speeds later on. If you were to hit an animal, and it doesn't need to be like a turtle, it could be another animal. That's an abrupt stop. That can be dangerous. Have you ever had an incident like that?
until now, well, let's knock it off. But yeah, what's fun without danger, you know? There needs to be a bit dangerous to get it going. And yeah, to go around the island alone, because on the east side there is no signal when you're on the water. And if you crash
Okay.
on that east side, the cliff is very high, so you will not get up onto the wall. So it's a long swim, or you need to be lucky with some fisher boats or whatever. But yeah, I think that also adds to the trip. Let's say that makes it more exciting.
Do people go around often, or is that like a
Uh,
special thing?
No, I think Tati has done it in the past with the fin once, and I think I'm
Yeah.
the only one with one of those friends doing it around.
All right, all right. So you grew up windsurfing, as you said before, and then you started freestyling, right? That was your first passion, windsurfing, or did you do everything from the beginning?
No, I started winter when I was 7, but I started with slalom. So I was always
Oh,
into speed and racing. And then I saw Tati, Giri, Tonki, they all were flying around my ears. I was like, damn, I also want to jump. And then it kind of shifted. So the focus really went to freestyle, but I was always doing still slalom. But the main trainings always were freestyle. And that's how it kept going till now.
You're still doing freestyle?
No, I just stopped. Um, it's yeah, there are many reasons, but I just want to give now the full focus on the racing part and see where I end up.
You were world champion in freestyle in 2021.
Yeah,
Was that also something that you said, all right, I achieved what I wanted, and now it's time for other things?
that's a big thing. Yes, I didn't know what to feel when I got the title, but that was definitely one of the things that okay, I got it. There's nothing higher to achieve as that. So now I want to go to the next step and give it all in the slalom.
There's slalom on the fin and on the foil.
Yeah.
Um, how are those different? Which one do you like more? Is there some discipline that you like more, or is it just it depends on the condition?
It depends a lot on the conditions. Fin for sure in those hardcore conditions when you have 30 plus knots, you know, really it feels like a motocross basically going over those chop, which is very, very fun. But at the same time, foiling in very high wind is also very fun because you're living on the edge so much. Like one little mistake and it's finito. And so that makes it also fun. But now with the Super X, the Slalom X, you know, we have these obstacles.
With the
We have to
sausage?
exactly we have to
Yeah, it's
jump. It
crazy,
just
man.
adds more adrenaline in the race. And yeah, I think it's really fun.
How difficult? Maybe we can talk about that sausage. Because when did it start? Last year? Last summer? Or
Yeah,
a year ago?
last year was the
25.
first year. Yeah, yeah.
I saw that, and I remember. I don't know. Was it in Gran Canaria the first time you used it?
Yes. Yeah.
I saw that, and I remember the first few races, almost everyone fell. And then after a couple of races, no one fell anymore. How was that? I mean, you can all jump, obviously, but is it mental that, all right, I'm going to have to jump now? How difficult was it?
I think for me it's very easy because I did freestyle. You know,
Yeah.
so I know how to use the gear to fly either straight up or very far. So for me, I did not really have a problem with it, but I can imagine for some riders that are really just slalom riders, you come up out of control, so many chops, it's already hard to spot everything. And then it's all about timing the right chop or swell to jump over.
Yeah.
And I think that's yeah, gets people somewhat scared. But that I go, why like without that, how it's just more fun, you know?
I mean,
The scareness.
if there's a little bump in front of that sausage, then you can jump over easily. But if you actually have to work for it, then it's probably a little bit more difficult. How difficult is it if you have someone in front of you and you're not sure whether he actually manages the jump? Are you kind of like scared as well, or maybe just getting into the jump differently when you have someone in front of you?
It's different. Yes, what most of the guys that are not so good in jumping, let's say, they all want to go upwind. You know, they kind of slow down, they go upwind, and if you're sending it from the top and you have to jump, I had a few times I passed people in the air, you know, and
Whoa.
you know, even touching, like clues touching the masts of the other guys. I had this with Matteo, I think, in the last final of Ferte.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, that's the whole fun thing because you're literally jumping together. Um, but yeah, it's all about reading the whole situation in front of you. It's with the chops, it's with the guys in front of you, and yeah, it's not easy, but it's fun, definitely.
Maybe we can just real quick for the listeners and the viewers who are more into winging or dock starting or whatnot. These slaloms, you have like a timer. I don't know how many minutes timer, and then you get ready. You are on full speed, and you go over the start line at full speed, and then you have what, like 5-7 jibes, something like that, and then the finish.
It depends. A usual one is, yes, we start with 4 minutes, so we have a 4-minute sequence. And yes, at 0 you want to be as fast as possible and that straight on the starting line basically. And normally we have 4 jibes.
Oh,
That's
just okay.
that's a normal slalom, but we've implemented sometimes with 6, or you have that chicane, or we have the sausage to jump over. So yeah, it depends on the format we're gonna do per race, basically.
And there you have a couple of heats, and the first 4 come to the next, or the first
advance.
4 are in the next final, and then until there's the last final, right?
Yeah, so you have 4 eliminations. Depends how many people are, of course, attending to the race. And then every time you advance, if you're in the top 4. So sometimes you see, you know, when you're easy in top 4, you don't have to push to win those races. It's just to make sure you get to that last 8, and that's where you have to send it 100%.
What is crazy for me, because I have a sailing background, and the start, I really get that you want to be full speed at the starting line. I'm never sure. For me, it looks like if you are at the boat and you can go a little more downwind, you're faster, but you're also a little further away from the next mark, right? So where is the perfect place to start? Is it on top or the bottom because it's easier? You're closer to the mark and you see where the line is more easily? Or how do you go about it? Does it depend where the other ones are as well?
Yeah, personally, I always look at the wind. Like if you start on the pin end of the starting line and the wind shifts and you have to start climbing, which always slows you down,
That's
you don't want to be there. And if
yeah.
it's the opposite, of course you want to be in the top end. But then still, if you are in the top end and you don't have the speed advantage and you're kind of staying there, you're gonna have 3-4 guys in between you and the first mark, which is also not the thing. So if you have kind of similar speeds, it's better to start below them and just have them above you, so you have the first into the mark. So there are a lot of that tactics that goes into this, and yeah, you have to know who is your competitor at that moment.
What's crazy to me is really that you guys have no rules.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you just send it, and I mean, you see so many collisions and you see who made the mistake. How is it really for you riders? Is it just like, sorry, my bad, and then you continue? Or do you have a like grudge and the next start you're gonna feel different about it?
I think there are also levels to this. If you go to the top 10 guys, they won't make those crazy T-bone crashes at the marks. You know, they know what they're doing, and of course, you know, if you're gonna hit him, you're gonna be in the water. You're not gonna advance anyways. You're not gonna
Yeah.
be able to fight back or anything because you crashed. And I think those big collisions are mostly the newer guys or the upcoming guys actually that don't have the real experience or they're sending it too much. But yeah, you crash. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you go together in a mark, you miss a foot strap, you hooked in or whatever, and you crash into the other guy. That's part of racing.
So
Yeah,
it's just if you don't want to like get hit, you just need to start better.
you start better. Yeah, of course. You know, it all multiplies. Yeah, you have to still have a good start. If you have a bad start and you're in the back and you're gonna send it from behind, 90% you're in the water. You know.
How is it different from fin surfing to foiling? Is there any difference? Are you like just taking a little bit more space between each other? Because you basically have daggers underneath the water and it can get dangerous. Now you said, yeah, you like danger, but still there's another element to it.
Yes. Look, at the end, I think the danger factor is still in both fin and foil is very dangerous because those fins we have underneath our slalom boards are very, very sharp. Sometimes you even grab them and you cut your hands. So I don't think if someone crashes in front of you with foil or fin, it's gonna be a massive difference. It's that just the foil has more blades, more wings, more options to cut. That's it. What I think is with the racing part, I think fin is very. It's like, let's say if you have 5 similar guys, it's very hard to fight back because you have the dirty wind. You're at the mark with more people. You have the dirt, like know that the water is different,
Turbulences.
the turbulences. So it's harder to fight back. As with foiling, you have so many lines into a mark. There is so many more options to fight back. With foiling, it's also never a guarantee you're gonna make it to the finish, especially in high wind, because everybody is pushing so hard on the limit. You have swell, you have wind gusts, you have so many more factors that comes into play.
Yeah.
As with fin, it's you know, just it's more simple. Still not easy, but it's more simple and yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
so not much of a difference in that thing. You said in a video I saw that if you want to be the fastest, you need the fastest stuff. And obviously, there's still a lot of developing being made. You're with Z foils or Z foils. What does your like windy gear look like? Your front wing, maybe I don't know if the square centimeters, the surface is still important, or if it's more the aspect ratio. How do you define or tell your friends which foil you're taking?
You don't. It's all a secret, of course.
No, I mean,
No.
if you go
No.
just on the water for a session with your friends, do you even
Uh,
do that?
yeah, of course. No, of course. Of course, we test a lot, especially with foils. Like I said before, it's almost a Formula One game. Everything has to be right, from the sails to the battens to the mast to especially the how you trim your foil. Aerodynamics with the boards also are starting to come in play. So if you have a very unstable board or a very draggy board, you do feel it.
Okay.
So yeah, I think especially what I think with gear wise that you need the best stuff is enlightenment, because then there's not a big factor that the rider can do. It's just hold on and go. Of course, you need to start good and you have to jibe good, but on a straight line, your gear has to work. If I would say, let's say from 18 knots, when you really start going to the smaller sails, let's say the 7 meters and down, it's where the more the rider impact comes forward. And yes, then of course, when we train, yes, we start talking about smaller wings. Let's try. Maybe you have 20 square centimeter bigger or smaller. You need to look how it goes through the holes, how the acceleration is, how the jibes are. So there are many more factors coming into play, and that's what I love about it. Is as I'm developing for Z foils, I think we had the fastest foil speed-wise out there, but not over a course. As in a course, you sometimes have to point. Let me say, when the wind drops, you need to be able to keep that speed up. Through a jibe, you need the acceleration. And this is where we were not there yet. And so there's a different thing if you want to send it for speed to go as fast as possible, or on a slalom course. And so there's a fine balance there where you have to look out for. And of course, there are many other brands out there that are also doing the same as I'm doing, basically. So it's all about testing and see what compromise, what the balance would be between speed and everything together.
If can you share some numbers? Like you said before, like your biggest foil is what, a 550?
Yeah. So normally, let's
what's
say even this year we're gonna use 2 front wings in the PWA at least. So everybody's gonna be using a medium wing and a big wing, which is a 550 or a 450, basically.
okay.
Last year we had 3 wings. Then some guys had a 400. I had a 360. That's my smallest. So it's probably your back wing.
What's the
like you were saying.
AR?
What do you mean?
What's the AR with those?
What is
The
the AR?
aspect ratio.
It's 540. So my 360 is 540 span.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But then again, that's different because I don't know what the other guys have a 400, but the span is much bigger. So then again, you also play with the profile and the
Yes, obviously. There's so much. Yeah, you cannot just talk about like surface and
Yeah.
aspect ratio. Everything comes together. Amado, just if you see me wobbling around, I'm standing on a balance board that Indiana sent me just to work on my stability
You're standing
a
on
little
that.
bit. That's
Okay.
just why I'm wobbling around.
Yeah, no worries.
How I saw that your mast, it looks impressive. It's like over a meter. How long is your mast, man?
It's a 95. It's a 95
It's a
cm.
95. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why not go longer? Is it due to the flex?
I think
The
especially
torsion?
with windsurfing, there's so much power going through those gear, way
Mhm.
more than a wing or kite. So
Yeah.
indeed, then we start talking about stableness. The longer you go, the less stiff you can get a mast, the less torsion you can fight it. So the longer it goes, you're
Yeah.
gonna have more torsion, so the fuse and the mast are gonna move more, and of course the lateral as well. So I think the 95. Well, we never felt we need bigger. Maybe a meter. At the end, a meter is 5 cm more. So then you go at least 110 or so. And then the jumps are getting bigger. And yeah, I think that's the main thing.
Was it in silt, or where was it where you had so many algae
It was in silt, yeah.
in the water? How difficult is it if you have stuff in the water? Because you have super small foils, you go super fast, and if something is there disturbing that whole setup, is it just game over, or can you actually work through it?
You can work through it. Of course, we have the back wing to play with angles, so to gain or lose more power of the foil. What the scary thing is there, it's not the allergies or the stuff in the water was not consistent. So you would crank up the power of the foil to be okay when you have all this drag, but then there is some spots where it's clean, and then you have this massive lift out of nowhere. And this was the more tricky stuff. And also the closer you were to the shore, the more there was. And like, let's say the last leg to the finish was almost nothing. So then the tricky thing was to compromise, you know, how much power you want to put in the beginning, or you're going to die at the end, basically, you know.
So what do you usually do? Is there a golden rule for that, or is just I'm trying to send it as hard as possible and see what
Well, we
happens?
don't train on this, you know. We always train with let's say with clean water. So we don't go to a place to train on with water that has allergies or stuff in the water, seaweed, whatever. So yeah, it's all about being on the spot, knowing what to change, and try to make the best of it.
Maybe we can get in your training, because obviously you need to be on the water a lot. You're on the water for work, developing these foils, but you also need to train. Are you hitting the gym? Are you doing CrossFit? What are you working on when not on the water? Or do you even need to do that?
100%, 100%. I'm kind of a gym rat. I love to be in the
Oh,
gym.
really?
On Bonaire, I have a coach. I have a fitness coach, which normally he wants me to train 3 times a week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we go at 5 a.m. Actually, we go to the gym.
Wow.
It's very hard for him to keep me out of the gym, basically, because I would love to go every day. But I have this thing
Really?
that I do too much and I don't recover because
Okay.
I cannot sit still. And so actually now, yeah, before I came here, I think for a month, I did almost 9 times fitness. I did was kickboxing. I was doing the gym every day. Was doing this full body workouts. And then he got so angry at me, like, dude, if you want to go forward, you have to stop and just keep it to what we're doing. So I'm doing this now.
Oh, wow.
I'm only going 3 times a week, and I spend probably like 2 to 3 hours a day on the water. Yes, even if it's fin or foil, I try to be on the water for sure.
All right. That's impressive. I talked to Nia Suardias, which is a winger, and she said that if you are like a bigger and heavier, you're usually better because you have more leverage. How is it with windsurfing? Is it also like the heavier the better, if it's muscles, obviously?
I think so. Yes, I think too heavy on a fin slalom board is not the best way. I think if you're around that 95 to 98 kilos is on the limit. But on a foil, the heavier you are, the faster you are. You need to be athletic, of course, because if you're going to be in those 10 knots, you need to be able to pump and be light on the feet. But other than that, it's just going to make you faster.
That's crazy. I mean, I can still, if I look at some fin races, I used to windsurf when I was little, and like the biggest sail I used was around 7-ish. Maybe it even had a camber in it, so it felt super stable. But as soon as it was like gusting 20 something knots, I felt overpowered pretty quickly. And when I look at you guys with these huge sails, just going over these bumps, and it looks super sketchy, but then again, you're pros. It looks really amazing, and it's super impressive to have these great coverages on YouTube. And I often watch, as I said before, Nico's recaps, and I just wanted to know, how do you feel about that? Because I can imagine he's always there with a camera, also asking you maybe questions. How is that for you if you have someone around who's always filming?
I think what he does is very great. I think it's helping a lot in the sport, and he does a very, very good job at it. But it's not easy. I don't mind having cameras around me unless I have to do it myself. So if I would have someone around behind me filming me, asking questions, or making a clip about a day, let's say, I don't really mind. But the social media part, always have to think about something to take a picture, and then also the variety. And let's say if you do this a month, how are you gonna come up with pictures? You're gonna come back to the same pictures every time.
Yeah. So that's nothing for you. You're 30, and I suppose that in slalom you can still continue with your pro career for a couple of years. Do you have any like goals or things you want to do after your career, or is that too far away still?
It's a bit hard to say because I think when I get the world title, this is where it's all gonna be more clear. Because I'm gonna not gonna stop until I have that slalom title. I was already very close. Um, but yeah, I think it's more about seeing after. I must say, traveling the whole year is getting a bit too much. Like I
Yeah,
wanna, settle a bit. You wanna stay in one place. You wanna have this routine because living out of your suitcase for 9 months is not fun. And of course,
it's
all the
exhausting
people,
too. Yeah.
see the lovely pictures and all the fun stuff, but they don't know the struggle behind it. And yeah, we were just talking about fitness. If you have so many competitions during the whole year and you're traveling, it's so hard to stay fit. All these things come into play, and yeah, so I don't have really an answer for, let's say, when do I want to stop or until when do I want to keep going. For sure, the goal is to get the title in the slalom discipline, and then we'll see.
Maybe you can, if you say that people don't see the big picture, they don't see what's behind the races. Maybe you can tell us about it. Like, how's your year plan? Do you plan everything like now in the new year, and you see what's up, or are you just looking at the PWA when they have their events, and you just do those and then see what else happens? Are some things spontaneous as well, or is everything planned way ahead?
Well, most of the time we know kind of what the calendar is going to be of the events. So if it's IFCA, the PWA, we're going to have the Defi Wind, we're going to have the 1 hour classic, stuff like this. You kind of know beforehand when it's going to plan out. But no, there are many, many times you just get the call, like, listen, book your flights, you need to fly to France. Like, I just came back from France, and this was all not planned. You really get the call, like, listen, okay, the sales are going to be in Holland tomorrow, fly there, take pickup, drive to France. We tested all the sales a week, 5 days even. Drive back to Holland and fly back home. So I think those are the ones that get to you because you cannot really plan ahead, basically.
When I look at surfers, watermen, people who travel a lot, I see so much gear. How do you handle that? Because you cannot bring everything, but you need to bring a lot. And obviously it gets super expensive. Or do you have your sponsors who like provide you with gear at the different places, or do you bring your own all the time?
You bring your own all the time. So let's say if you go
Sounds like
to
a
a if
pain,
you
man.
go to an event, you bring at least one set of sails. Normally the most, let's say if you go to Japan, it's gonna be lighter, so you're gonna bring 2 extra of your biggest sails in case something happens. You need mast break often with the sun and stuff, crashes, whatever, so you need a spare mast. Then you have the boards, you have the foils, and nowadays these foils are very heavy with the titanium fuselages and stuff. So I think only your foil bag is already up to 30 kilos. Um, so yeah, I think the least amount of bags you go to an event is 4 board bags. And then we have the problem, of course,
Wow.
of having 32 kilos, but you two put three sails, one boom, you're already there. So we're always packing it and just pray at the check-in counter to, to pass by because they're always
Do you
overweight. I
still put your
think
foot under the scale, or is that not possible anymore?
yeah, for sure we have our tricks we do. But yeah, I think last time I flew to Japan with my bag was like almost 65 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that gets super expensive. Now, I don't know how well you are paid if you win an event or if you're good at event. How is that financed, man? Is that all sponsors? Is there any possibility for you to like save a little something, or is it all just living at the moment and do whatever you can?
I for sure you have to look after your money. So it's not like free fall. You can do whatever you want and how you want. You have to really know how you work with your money, basically. and to try to settle it through the whole year. I don't think you get rich of this sport anymore, even if you're in top. So yeah, to save nowadays, especially, I think if we talked about 20 years ago, it was different. But I think the sport has never been so low in like contracts and money in windsurfing itself. Everything is getting more expensive. Like you said, with these bags, normally it's at least 100 euro per bag. So you go with 400 euros only on equipment. So yeah, it does get expensive. And we as riders, I think the top guys, the top 10 guys, we get paid per brand. So now for North Sails, I get paid for the Future Flight boards, the Z foils, stuff like this. And with this, you have to go around. But no, for sure, you're not gonna get rich from what we're doing at the moment.
You said that there's a world champion title that you want to achieve, that you want to get. There's something else that I'm not sure if you plan on doing that in 2 years. It's going to be the Summer Olympics. Is that a topic at all for you?
I used to train in the Olympics. I was in the team of Holland. Personally, I don't have anything with Olympics. I've never had until it became foiling. I was like, okay, let's try it. And I love the way it's racing, but just the sport itself, it should be a one design sport. And I personally stopped because there were so many differences. The only thing you do is fighting on to get the best gear. And yes, if you put the top guy on an average gear, he would maybe be in the top 20. And if you put that average guy on the best gear, you will still in the top 15 easy. So of course you need to be able to race and all these tactics. You need to know how to learn to read the wind, and of course there's a lot of in play. But pure speed wise and gear wise, it was very, very bad in having equal gear. And for me, this was too much and way too expensive, and yeah, just not fun because the rider is not making the massive differences anymore.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So no Olympics for you then, huh?
No.
Is there anything else planned for you, like in the next year, some big trip or something?
For now, not massive, nothing massive, just to get the title. It's about time. That's the main goal. So I'm putting everything on this at the moment. I finally feel I have a whole complete gear set. Basically, I'm happy with the sails, happy with the boards, happy with the foils, with the fin gear. As previous years, I always had something that was not really fitting, and on this level, everything has to fit. And I finally feel there, and I feel strong mentally, also very strong. So I think going into a new season is one of the best times I felt.
All right, that sounds amazing, man, and that's a perfect statement to wrap the episode up. If people are still not following you, that's at Amado _ VRISWIJK.NB20. I'm gonna put it in the show notes so people don't have to listen to my spelling. But thanks very much, Amado, for coming on the show, talking about your story, talk about Bonaire, the island as well. And I really hope that we can get Tati on as well. He could tell the listeners about the surf school, the foiling school that he has, and also his adventures. That would be super fun. Thank you very much, man, and have a good day, man.
Thank you, man. You too.